Welcome to the deep dive. So you sent over some really challenging material this time. We're looking at Wallace D. Waddell's The Science of Getting Rich from 1910. And it's influential, definitely controversial in parts, but it claims getting rich isn't luck, it's a science.
That's exactly it. That's the big promise. Waddles is very clear. This book is for people who want money first,
Right.
results now. It's meant to be pragmatic, not really philosophical. He basically says you don't even have to fully buy into the theory behind it.
Right.
The main thing is just to take the core ideas on faith, act on them like they're true, and see what happens. No fear, no hesitation.
I kind of like that directness. It's almost throwing down a gauntlet, isn't it? He calls it an exact science, like algebra. It actually says, quote, failure is impossible if you just follow the steps precisely.
Yeah, that level of confidence is pretty striking. And it all comes from this idea he calls the monistic theory of the universe. Basically, one is all and all is one. It has roots way back in Hindu philosophy, but also picked up by Western thinkers like Emerson. But like I said, Waddles is like, skip the deep philosophy for now, just do the actions.
Mm-hmm.
His fundamental starting point is that everything, absolutely everything, comes from one single thinking original substance.
Okay, let's dig into that. Because that single premise lets him make this first huge claim that we have an actual right to be rich. He doesn't just say wealth is nice. He argues poverty is, almost a kind of moral failing.
He really flips the script on the idea that poverty is somehow noble or spiritual. His argument is purely functional. He says you literally cannot live a full life, develop your talents, your mind, your soul, without being rich. Because development needs things, experiences, tools. And these days, those things cost money.
Okay, hold on. Calling poverty sinful, that sounds incredibly harsh. Isn't there a danger there of just blaming people for circumstances beyond their control? How does he justify that?
Yeah, it's strong language. He frames it less as a personal character flaw and more like you're violating nature's intent. If the whole point of life is growth, advancement, becoming more, then deliberately choosing or even just accepting less, stunting your own potential, physically, mentally, spiritually. That, in his view, is the problem. It's about refusing the means for full expression.
So ambition isn't selfish. It's almost essential, a duty even. And he simplifies life into 3 parts: body, mind, and soul. And none is better than the others.
Exactly. All 3 need full expression for a complete life. Your body needs good food, decent clothes, rest, recreation. Your mind needs books, travel, art, intellectual stimulation, and your soul needs love.
Yeah.
But he connects love directly to the ability to give, to provide benefits to others. If you have nothing to give, materially or otherwise, he argues you can't really fulfill your role as a spouse, parent, citizen, anything. So getting rich becomes the foundation for living fully.
This is where it gets really fascinating for me. If it's a science, a method, what is the driver? He says getting rich comes from doing things in a certain way. So maybe we should start with what it's not based on, according to him.
Right. He spends a lot of time knocking down the usual suspects. It's not your environment. The rich and poor people work in the same fields, live in the same towns. It's not about being super thrifty or saving every penny. Lots of savers stay poor, he says, while some big spenders get rich.
And it's not purely about talent either, is it? He gives some pretty blunt examples there.
Yeah, he does. He makes this point, which is definitely controversial, that you see really talented people who are poor and then others with, let's say, less natural ability. And he uses some pretty dated, frankly offensive terms from the early 1900s here, calling people blackheads or sickly. But his point is they get rich anyway. Why? Because they stumble onto this certain way.
Just to be clear for everyone listening, that language is obviously completely inappropriate now, but Waddles used it back then to really hammer home his point, that the method matters more than innate intelligence or ability.
Exactly. It's the method that's key, not the person's raw talent. If you've got 2 people in the same business, same town, one gets rich, one doesn't, it's because one is doing things in that certain way.
Okay, but that leads to the big question, doesn't it? If everyone starts doing things this certain way, isn't there just not enough to go around? What about limited resources, monopolies, all that?
He tackles that head on. He says nobody is kept poor because all the wealth is already taken. This is where he brings in the idea of the formless stuff or original substance. It's this invisible, infinite supply that permeates everything.
Formless stuff. How can we sort of translate that for today? What does that mean practically?
You could think of it like infinite potential. Like the digital world, you can create endless copies of software, right? It's not a limited pie. He says this substance is alive, it's creative, it's always making more. So you're not poor because nature ran out of stuff. You're poor because you haven't tapped into this infinite source correctly. Its natural impulse is always towards more life.
Got it. So it's about creation, not fighting over a fixed pool of resources. Okay, if everything starts as this thinking substance, how do we actually direct it? What's the first principle?
Thought. Simple as that. Because the formless stuff thinks, our thoughts are the only thing that can impress upon it and cause it to create tangible things. Humans are thinking centers. We can originate thoughts, and when we impress a specific thought onto this substance, it starts to form the thing we're thinking about.
So just vaguely wishing for money isn't going to cut it. You need laser focus.
Absolutely critical. You have to form a clear and definite mental picture of exactly what you desire. And you have to hold onto that picture constantly. Like he says, a sailor keeping their eyes fixed on the destination port. But just having the picture makes you a daydreamer. That's not enough.
Right.
Behind that clear vision, you need two more things. The purpose to actually get it, and this unwavering faith that it is already yours, or at least on its way to you.
So it's that believe you have received it idea from spiritual texts, but he's framing it as a necessary scientific ingredient for the process to work.
That's the blend, yeah. And to keep that connection strong, to make sure your thoughts are, let's say, received by this substance, gratitude is essential. Gratitude keeps you in harmony with the creative intelligence. It aligns your mind with the source.
I can see how much mental discipline this takes. Because if doubt or focusing on lack can mess it all up, you really have to guard your thoughts.
Absolutely crucial. And he says you use your willpower only on yourself to force yourself to think the right thoughts and take the right actions. Waddell specifically warns against focusing on the appearance of problems, looking at poverty, reading about disasters, dwelling on illness. Because if you fill your mind with those images, you're impressing those thoughts onto the substance, and you risk creating more of them in your own life. Thinking wealth while surrounded by poverty, he admits, takes immense effort. But mastering that is what makes you a mastermind.
Wow. Okay, so this also implies completely ditching a competitive mindset, right? If the universe wants more life for everyone, you can't get rich by taking things away from others.
That's the fundamental shift he demands. Move entirely from the competitive mind thinking about rivals, scarcity, getting a bigger slice of the pie to the creative mind. Focus only on building, creating something new from the formless stuff. This means no sharp practices, no exploiting people, no coveting what others have. If your business relies on squeezing people, he says you have to change it or get out.
So how do you make sure you're always creating, always adding? What's the rule for interacting with others, especially in business?
He calls it the rule of use value. In every single transaction, you must give the other person more in use value than you take from them in cash value. So if you sell something, the benefit the customer gets from it, its actual usefulness to them, has to feel significantly greater than the price they paid. You always aim to give more than you receive in pure cash terms.
That really reframes business as trying to genuinely uplift everyone involved. Okay, let's touch on another controversial point, helping the poor. If you succeed with this method, what's your responsibility?
Right, and we need to be clear, we're just reporting Waddell's view here. He takes a very hard line. He argues that studying poverty, focusing on it, even traditional charity, he claims it doesn't work. He says it actually perpetuates the wretchedness by keeping the focus on lack.
So no charity. What does he say is the only real way to help?
Get rich yourself. That's it. By using the creative method, becoming wealthy, you demonstrate the path. You inspire others and show them it's possible to rise above their circumstances.
Right.
He literally says the best service you can render to God and humanity is to make the most of yourself.
Okay, so we've got the mental setup, the clear vision, the solid faith, the deep gratitude, the shift to a creative mindset. But that's all internal. What's the final, absolutely essential piece? Action.
Exactly. This is where the rubber meets the road, and honestly, it's the part people sometimes gloss over. Thinking creates the impulse, it sets things in motion, but you have to act to receive what's coming to you. The thing you want is brought to you by thought, but you receive it through action.
And crucially, act now in your current situation. No waiting for the perfect opportunity or the right circumstances.
Yes, that urgency is vital. Don't wait. Start where you are with what you have in your current job or business. Act now. And every single action needs to be efficient.
Efficient action. What does that look like day to day? Is it just about working hard?
It's more than just hard work. It's about infusing every action, even small ones, with the full power of your vision, your faith, and your purpose. If your job involves sweeping floors, you sweep that floor with the mindset and intention of the person you're becoming, the person who has achieved a vision. Every act builds on the last. He warns that neglecting even small, seemingly unrelated actions today can break the chain and cause delays down the line. It has to be continuous, powerful action.
What about someone working for wages, maybe feeling stuck? How do they apply efficient action to advance?
It's not just about doing your current job well. It's about becoming too big for your current job. You do more than required, yes, but always with the clear intention of advancing. You hold the vision of the position you want, you act with power and purpose in the job you have now, and this is key. You radiate that sense of increase, of growth, of advancement to everyone you interact with. He believes this signals to the supreme intelligence that you're ready, and opportunities will then be brought to you.
This has been quite the journey through this philosophy. It really takes metaphysical concepts and bolts them onto a very pragmatic, almost capitalist how-to guide.
It's definitely a complete system he lays out,
Yeah.
rigorous even. So just to recap that core process, you form that crystal clear vision, you hold it with absolute faith and purpose, you maintain constant gratitude to stay connected to the source, the formless substance, and then you act, now, efficiently in your current role, always focused on giving more use value than you receive in cash value.
It demands total discipline, mentally and physically, and it really does force you to rethink desire itself. If the universe, this formless substance, actually wants you to have everything you need for full expression, then maybe your ambition isn't just selfish. Maybe it's, as Wattles puts it, a desire for fuller expression. Life itself pushing for more through you.
It absolutely reframes it, which leads to a really powerful question for you, the listener, to ponder as you consider these ideas. If your greatest service really is making the most of yourself, how might seeing your ambition not just as personal gain, but as this mandate for more life, change the sheer scale and the dedication you bring to what you plan and what you do, starting right now? What would you actually begin to build?